Welcome to lesson 04-3, more with procedures. This is a continuation, kind of what we started with last time, of talking about procedures and parameters. If I could click right. Alright, in the last lesson, we modified our warm-up to use a procedure to draw a square, and we added parameters to the procedure. Now we're going to add more procedures to draw triangles and rectangles. If you did this as part of your assignment last time, good for you. Awesome. We're going to continue along with it, so feel free to, kind of follow along and see if you did it the same way, or see if you did take another approach to this. So we're going to want to be able to draw several triangles. So what we're going to do is, I'll go ahead and switch over to my Scratch account here. We have this is kind of left over from last time. What we want to do is we want to have a triangle procedure. So I'm going to go into here, blocks. I'm going to make a block. It's going to call triangle. I'm going to add an input, and I'm going to call it size, just like in Square. In order to draw a triangle in Scratch, I know that I need a repeat function, and we're going to repeat 3 times. I'm going to move, put the size in there, and then turn 120 degrees. And we've talked about that before on why we did that specifically. All right, let's jump back to here. All right. So, yes, we just do that. Yes, okay. So let's go ahead and add that triangle side size back in there. So, actually, you know what? We're going to disconnect this and throw that. I'll throw the back in there. Now let's go grab that triangle and variables, side size right here. So now if I play it, hey, look at that. I got an upside down triangle. Okay. And that's okay. That's kind of what I'm expecting from everybody right now. All right. Design so far, let's see. Oh, in this version, I did left 120 instead of right 120. So let's fix that. So if you were right here, I guess this is a quick little thing. I could do negative 120 and it would work. I'm not a huge fan of having negatives in there though, so let's do turn left by 120. I don't know, I just feel like negatives are so easy to leave off. Alright, hey look, I got a little house. Sweet. Alright. Let's go back to this then. Alright, so we're going to add another square, and so we're going to point in a direction 300 degrees to position the pen, and so that we can do this. And with procedures, this is kind of nice because I don't have to write this square code over and over again. So let's do a point in a direction. Point in direction, and what did I say? Negative 60. And then I could also do 300, and that would work the same. Alright, so point in direction negative 60, then let's draw another square. That is of size, side size. And push play. Alright. Let's got another little drawing going. Alright. Yeah. Go ahead and if you want to experiment with some of that. Now, I talked about this whenever we first started talking about procedures of we're going to start having this thing called initialize. And every program needs to initialize. And we've talked about this before. Everything needs to have a starting point. We need to start everything the same point. So from this point on, whenever we're working in Scratch, you have to initialize your procedures. So and it needs to be inside of an initialize procedure. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go back to Scratch, and I'm going to create a block called initialize. And a lot of times people might show it as init. For this course, for right now though, I'll put initialize. It doesn't really need any inputs, so I'm going to say okay. Define initialize. Well, defining initialize is literally all of that. And so I'm going to put initialize right there, and show, and if I did everything right, it should be exactly the same. It is exactly the same. Awesome. That's what I wanted. Alright. Yes, I talked about that. Yeah. And so this simplifies everything. You can always have it in the same spot. It's easy to find. Alright. Let's make some stuff happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a code so that then we have a castle made of a square with two triangles next to each other at the top and two diamonds as windows. Some people see this as like a cat face. That's totally fine too. But let's go ahead and work through it. Oops, not yet. Alright, so if I switch to this, and I'm going to have this on another screen so I can call it. Alright, so initialize, and I can slow it, go in a little bit. Alright. You know what, I'm just going to delete this. And that. So I have this initialize, I have the size. Okay. So let's make a show. The pen is down, okay. So I go 120. And then I'm going to go pick up my pen. Oops. Pen up. Go to 0, 0. Point in direction 90. And then put my pen down. And then I'm going to go make a triangle, which is size 60. And then I'm going to move, so I need to pick my pen up. I need to go to a location. 60, 0 should do it. And point in direction 90. So I'm going to then put my pen down. Then I'm going to draw another triangle. And actually, I guess I could just like kind of run these as I go through. Yeah, I want another triangle. Actually, I'm going to throw my hide at the very bottom of this so you can not be there. Triangle of size 60. Let's see what that does. Awesome. All right. I need to move again. So pen up. Motion. Go to 40. Negative 30. Point in direction. Put my pen down. And draw a square. This should make like the first window. Oh. No, I don't want this to be 90. I want it to be 135. Okay. And then I need to move again. So I need to pick up my pen. Pen up. Go to, I think this is at 100. Point in direction negative 135. Put my pen down. And draw a square of size 15. And then, oops, you go right here. Like that. Okay. Alright, so I drew my little shape. Cool, awesome. Some of you hopefully started to realize that something was going on, and I probably could have been more efficient with my code. What was it that I was doing? That I was doing over and over and over and over again. Well, what I was doing is I was... Oops. One second. Sorry. Yeah. I was doing the same thing over and over again of picking my pen up, going to location, pointing a direction, and putting my pen down. So, going back to here, the repeated part. This, and it actually took me a little bit of time to actually like chain every single one of those. And so what we could do is we could make this more efficient by using a procedure. And I've mentioned it before, it's okay to not realize that you need procedure until after the fact and then go back in and clean it up. That's totally fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a position pen, and that's going to be our procedure. So we're going to make a position pen, and this will make our program start looking a little nicer. All right, so let's go build that. So let's make a block called position pen. And we're going to have a couple inputs, and we haven't done this before where we have more than one input. So we have position pen. The first one is going to be, I like to do like XCore or XPOS for X position. It's up to you. We could do YCore, being Y coordinates, and then we're going to do direction. Because those are the things that I was having to type in over and over again, is location, the direction, all that type of stuff. So I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to take that, put that there, because it was like the same thing that we're using. So right here, I'm going to go 0, 0, 90. Oops. 90. This was the X coordinate, this was the Y coordinate, this was the direction. Alright, disconnect, go triangle. Disconnect, position was 60, 0, 90. Toss. Triangle. We have another one. 40, negative 30, negative 135. Toss. Build another one. 100, negative 30, negative 135. Put this here. Toss. Now, if we did this right, I probably shouldn't have been tossing those as I went along, but it's totally fine because I have every confidence this is going to work. I push the play button. Woohoo! Yeah, it drew the same thing. Again, that's awesome. It's great that it drew the same thing. That's what I wanted it to do, that's what I expected it to do, and that's what I hoped it would do. Alright. Let's look back at our slideshows. There we go. So, we did all this. Much shorter, simpler, kind of nicer looking program. Because we're able to see what everything's doing. It's like, what does this do? Well, it positions the pen. Well, no kidding, right? So it's kind of a cool little thing. Animations for the win. Okay. So let's go ahead and add a rectangle to the bottom of our thing. So what we're gonna do is go back to here. Let's build a block called rectangle. And we're going to make side 1, because they're not always going to be length and width, respectively. Side 2. Alright. So we got to define what a rectangle is. We know what it is, but Scratch does not. We're going to repeat this 2 times. And what we're going to do is we're going to move side 1 amount, turn right 90 degrees, then move side 2 amount, and then turn 90 degrees. Awesome. Now, it's not going to draw a rectangle anymore because we didn't tell it to. Nowhere in here, in this, when the green flag is clicked, did we ever use the term rectangle. So, let's see if I can get the coordinates that we want to use. Oh, guess I didn't put that in there. Let's see. Lowest I go is negative 30, so if I do... No. Lowest I go is negative 120. Alright, so let's do this. Let's draw... So, oops, I need to position my pen, is what I need to do. Alright, so X, I think if I go like negative 30, and I go negative 120, I go 90, so I make this 180, and make this like 20. Let's see what that does. Hey, there you go. Alright, so yeah, could do that. It makes it really nice. So you can add that in there. Okay. Alright, let's go back to our sessions. So in your assignment, you're going to write a Scratch program using procedures with parameters to create an original house design with windows and doors. Your program must include at minimum procedures with the parameter to draw each shape, include at least one of each of the following as squares, rectangles, triangles, include at least two windows and one door, shapes of at least 2 different colors, comments to enhance your understanding. Anyone reading your program should know what part of the house is each part, and that's the kind of big thing. It's like if I'm like your windows aren't right, you need to be able to go and identify where your windows are. One quick little thing, because you're drawing something using like kind of coordinates, I'm going to show you a quick little way to have a sprite tell you where you're located. So if I have him under my looks, I'm going to say, and actually it's going to be in here, forever, control, forever, say, we're going to do some joins real quick, join, this is going to be your mouse X position, comma space, mouse Y position, and it should, oh, I think he has to be hit. No, it can't be hidden. So if you go and you just hover over the spot, he will update what he's saying to be the location, roughly. So you can get a rough idea of where everything's located. Might help you, might not. It just kind of is nice to have. Alright, hopefully all this was helpful. Have fun programming.